dias. Welcome on this wonderful Thursday. I think we messed you up, right? Because some of you were expecting Pastor Dan, but surprise, it's me. I'm so excited. Today we're going to be in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 18 through 31. I'm excited. This is one of my favorite books. I'm so glad Dan did such a great job yesterday. If you haven't watched yesterday's video, please go ahead, go back, watch that video, and then come watch this one. Especially if you have not read all of chapter 1 yet, please do so, because it's necessary. Listen, this book, like the other books, this was meant to be read all at once. It's not that there's anything necessarily wrong with pulling out smaller segments, but sometimes you'll miss things if you don't read it all at once. So if you have the time, which I think you do, you can at least either read it with your eyeballs or maybe find an audio version and listen to the whole book at once so that you can have kind of a healthier context. But for today, in particular, we have two thoughts that Paul is really hitting on. First off, he says this, that in the ideas of the world, that he says this in verse 18, for the word of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but it is the power of God to those of us who are being saved. Paul goes on to say this, for it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and I will set aside the intelligence of the intelligent. Where is the one who is wise? Where is the teacher of the law? Where is the debater of this age? Hasn't God made the world's wisdom foolish? For since in God's wisdom the world did not know God through wisdom, God was pleased to save those who believe through the foolishness of what is preached. For the Jews ask for signs and the Greeks seek wisdom, but now, this is where I think everything is sort of like balanced on. Like, this is the part that matters. No, I'm like, it all matters, but yeah. But we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to the Jews and foolishness to the Gentiles. Paul here is saying that what is foolish to those who are perishing is Christ crucified. Why would you crucify someone who's fully God and fully man? And how in the world is that supposed to redeem every one of their sins? You, on your own, in fact, you see a lot of people who are incredibly intellectual, incredibly smart, have the wisdom of the age, so to speak, and they can't figure this out. Because this isn't something that you arrive at with your intellect, although you can arrive at some of the conclusions with your intellect. Christ crucified is a stumbling block to the Jews and foolishness to the Gentiles. It's interesting that it's a stumbling block to the Jews. It's something, a stumbling block is something what? That it trips people up. To the Greeks, though, or to the Gentiles, it's something that is just foolish. Yet to those who are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ is the power of God and the wisdom of God, because God's foolishness is wiser than human wisdom, and God's weakness is stronger than human strength. One of the things that I love about this, that I'd really like to, probably for each and every one of us, try to be more intentional to pay attention to, is just this reality that the foolishness of God is still wiser than the wisest guy. That the weakness of God is still significantly stronger than the weakest man. And that if you identify or line yourself up with Christ, who knows all things, has all power, all strength, and all wisdom, you'll be in good hands. As weak and as feeble as you can be. Let's keep going. Verse 26, brothers and sisters, consider your calling. Not many were wise from a human perspective, not many powerful, and not many of noble birth. In other words, look around you guys. me, you, Dan, we're not impressive in the natural. But, verse 27, instead, God has chosen what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. And God has chosen what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God has chosen what is significant and despised in the world, and what is viewed as nothing to bring to nothing what is viewed as something. In other words, God is going to take all the things that you think are the most important things and show that they're really not that important. They're not something. In fact, it's nothing. It is from Him that you are in Christ Jesus. It's because of Jesus that you're saved. It's because of God that you are saved. It's not because of anything that you did, who became wisdom from God for us, our righteousness, sanctification, and redemption. So real quick, I want you, if you can, in the comments section, I want you to define what is righteousness, what is sanctification, and what is redemption. And he goes on to say, in order that, as it is written, let the one who boasts boast in the Lord. So while you're defining that, let me talk about this for a second. That the thing you should be boasting about in your life and in my life is not how great I am or how great you are, but how great God is, how great Jesus is, how thankful we are for His mercy, how thankful we are for His ever-ending, never-ending love. So real quick, I'm going to give you just one more second, because I give you 3 words to define. Define righteousness, sanctification, and redemption. So real quick, here we go. Jumping right in. All right, here we go. What is, and I hope you didn't cheat. Sometimes I get my definitions wrong. All right, so we're going to start here with redemption. And the definition, according to Oxford Languages, because we all believe that the English invented the language, and so therefore they're probably right. The action of saving or being saved from sin, error, or evil. It is the act of regaining or gaining possession of something in exchange for payment, or clearing a debt. So, in the first definition, it actually goes well with the second definition, in that if you have a debt, and this is the debt owed for is this pencil, I can give you payment so that you can get the pencil back. Have you ever taken anything to the pawn store, done one of those pawn loans? If you have, in order to get it back, you have to redeem it. And so you give them the payment for what you owe. And so then you get that in response. And that is something that has been redeemed. So that's redemption. The action of regaining or gaining possession of something in exchange for payment or clearing a debt. That's what Jesus does for us. He clears our debt. He pays for us with His own body, with His own flesh and blood. All right, so next let's go with sanctification. Again, Oxford Languages defines it as the action of making or declaring something holy. Or it's the action or process of being freed from sin or purified, the action or causing of something to be or seem morally right or acceptable. So you becoming holy, that is sanctification. Justification is when it happens, like you are justified before the Father. Sanctification is the process in which you go through. You could call it the meat grinder, you could call it the blender, in which God makes you more like Him, making you more and more holy. So that's sanctification. Finally, let's do righteousness. And that is, according again to Oxford Languages, you can check this out at oxfordlanguages.com, the quality of being morally right or justifiable. So in English, at least, righteousness is being morally right or justifiable. In other words, you do the right thing according to God's written commands. So, the person who does that, or is that, when you boast, you can boast in the Lord. Why? Because it's His righteousness that is yours, that allows you to stand before the Lord sinless. The sanctification is done because God is the one that purifies us, prepares us to make us more holy. And redemption, it's God, it's Jesus who redeems us in the first place. So thank you so much for joining us today for today's video of 1 Corinthians verses 18 through 31. Hopefully you enjoyed today's channel. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, click the little bell, and you'll be notified whenever one of our wonderful videos is available. Also, if you love this channel, I highly encourage you to share the channel so that we can get the word out, help us to grow more mature disciples. And finally, if you love this channel, if you've been following us for a while, we encourage you to consider making a tax-deductible gift to Redeeming Life Fellowship through the link in the description below. Thank you so much for joining us today. Peace out, Girl Scout.